Scott with SJWellFire.com, Final Days Report, episode 486. Well, it's true, as we've been warning about for 5 years, there's a war on travel. Illegal to fix your cars is the objective of these automotive leaders that visited Trump recently. So let's read from an article that actually made me sore. I wanted to jump in and do this podcast relatively quickly. From the Detroit Free Press, Trump says Ford GM pushing bill to restrict right to repair your car. Folks, we did an old podcast, Keep Your Old Car, Your Old Analog Car. You're being attacked on so many fronts. On Thursday, June 4th, Trump said the automotive executives want a bill that prohibits people from fixing their cars, though it was unclear what legislation Trump was referring to. No, there was a meeting with these executives. These executives probably had the edict from BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard. Let's continue. There are various pieces of legislation being mandated together with Congress that would protect owners' rights to repair their own vehicles, though in some cases these rights might be restricted or owners could be required to meet certain safety standards. See, they don't want you working on your car because of these software systems, and this parlays into what happened with the tractors and farmers. Their heavy equipment worth $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. And I'll give Trump credit. He did pardon someone that was sentenced to 7 years for working on a tractor. I watched a video. He wasn't sure if it was a tractor or a truck. So is he warning the people about this, that it doesn't make sense? I'll play a quick video. But you know, if Trump succumbs to this, he is just totally compromised, bought and paid for. And it reminds me of his video. A reporter asked Trump a question. Do you care about how Americans are hurting? 50% of Americans are paycheck to paycheck. And he said, the only thing I care about are Iranian nukes. I meet a lot of people with what I'm doing, and a lot of MAGA people are pissed about that comment. They're done. They're done. The brainwashing is leaving them.
And the job he's done is great. We had the auto industry in yesterday. They don't want people to fix their car. I said, that's strange. I've never heard of that. They have a thing nobody's allowed to fix their car. They gave a man 7 years in jail, actually, because he fixed his own car. So I thought we'd do something about that. But we'll get it all straightened away. Can you believe it? They want a bill that prohibits people from fixing. So if you're mechanically inclined, I went to school with some guys that were, in some cases, horrible students, but they could fix an engine blindfolded. They could take a car apart blindfolded, but they weren't too good at arithmetic and other things, but they were great. And so there's a move on to stop people from fixing their car. I didn't understand it, but we had a great meeting yesterday.
And it just so happened junkyards are catching on fire. My question is, are they being dooed? A direct energy weapon? Do we need to paint all the cars in the junkyards blue? Because we've covered all these crazy fires where steel melts and how magically homes and different objects that are this light blue seem to survive. Play this quick video.
Looping back to the whole 12 junkyards in 6 weeks number, I wasn't able to verify if the report was even real, but if it was, that number is actually extremely low. While the report says that there's been about 2 fires per week over the last 2 years, data says that there has been an average of 8 or more fires per week at scrapyards and waste facilities.
So I started to investigate, could someone build an analog car with this parallel society? It's in my spirit to really push this. So could it even happen? Well, in the U.S., the National Highway Safety Administration requires all vehicles sold to the public to meet federal motor vehicle safety standards. Modern standards essentially assume electronic systems like electronic stability control, an airbag system, an OBD diagnostic port, and emissions control. So I know some people in the automotive industry and other technical people that know computers, and they seem to think, granted the tool and dying would be an issue, that you could build an analog basic dumb car. One person showed me this little box computer that probably could run all of this. But the question is, they've been getting rid of tool and die businesses that used to be in every small town forever. They've been just getting rid of them. They don't want you to be able to produce things. There are some workarounds as well with a car kit back door that maybe doesn't have to comply to all these different standards. But if there's an entrepreneur out there, we need to think analog. We can't stop prophecy, but we are to occupy until he returns. Let's continue laddering up these wicked days that we're in, and they all funnel into this beast system. And I just thought this was crazy. Destroy Iran, then at the taxpayers' expense, rebuild Iran. And the next article reminds me of Halliburton in the Iraq War, a no-bid contract. Do you remember that scam? The COVID-19, the pandemic, and all the billionaires that came out of that. Epstein files really show that this was a plan. So burn it down and build their smart city infrastructure, just like they did in Maui and other places that we've covered over the years. But let's read from the New York Times. But perhaps the most surprising and apparently recent addition to the agreement to end the war that we started is a reference to an investment fund for Iran. The Iranian official and one diplomat put it around $300 billion, but other officials involved in the mediation would not confirm the amount. The Iranian official described it as a reconstruction program that would be promised to Iran in the event of a final agreement was signed. Earlier in the negotiations, Tehran had demanded reparations for bombardment damage that some Iranian officials estimate to be around $300 billion to $1 trillion. So up to $1 trillion, we're going to fork over, make the rich richer, build a smart city over there. Are we just watching a script? It's nuts. And continuing down this beast system, Dems replace mother with gestating parent in late woke rewrite of New York law from the New York Post. Mom's not the word. A woke new bill erases the term mother and father from state childhood custody and parental laws, a gender-neutral rewriting that's expected to spark a flood of similar clunky legislation. Clunky, it should be demonic legislation. A war on God's creation. Mother would be replaced with gestating parent, while father becomes non-gestating parent or parent in family court, along with in domestic and education law under the legislation passed this week by state Democrats. This is nothing short of a war on God's creation. This is the Baphomet trans agenda. This is the agenda to make God's creation ugly, ultimately for transhumanism. And it's a playbook on the right and the left. Make no mistake about it. If the right and the left are mostly Luciferians or compromised, this is part of the think tank New World Order Luciferian agenda to hook you up into artificial intelligence. Now, the last podcast I did had some pretty good response and a lot of emails and questions. I had a couple of questions about tokenization, this new business model. Well, in the simplest form, tokenization of everything means assigning a digital identity value to every asset, a node, including people, biometrics, behavior, carbon footprint, social credit, central bank digital currencies, DNA that's going to be given for this universal basic income with strings attached, all of it. Every blade of grass will be a node in Meta, in their parallel system. But we can't keep our eye off of optogenetics and this mind controlism soul trap agenda. I just was thinking about 6G, how that's key for all of this. 6G's terahertz frequencies are actually being researched specifically for body area networks because the terahertz waves interact with biological tissues in measurable ways. They can carry enormous amounts of data at a very short range. The body itself becomes part of the transmission medium. Terahertz waves interact with biological tissue in measurable ways. This is evil, my friends. It's absolutely evil. In this podcast, because you need to think about this beast system, we just covered a story on 6G, and this body area network, this brain-computer interface, this biodigital convergence. We talked about how you can't work on your cars is the agenda. Then the war on family guides creation for transhumanism, and then destroy countries and fix them probably with smart cities. But it reminds me of Daniel 7:23. The fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse, different from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it into pieces. They're treading it down on a nano level. Revelation 17:13. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. People that hook up to this will all have one mind. This is the Tower of Babel 2.0. So a quick VCast. I was disturbed by the can't fix your car agenda. It's moving fast, my friends. Please share old school. Tell a friend, write a letter, put a post-it note wherever you are, and have a blessed day. Thanks for your support.